Hey guys, it's Chris back with another watch video, and today we are doing a comparison between the Zelos Swordfish and the SBDC061, the Seiko. So, obviously there is a case difference, material difference here. We have bronze on the Zelos and stainless steel on the Seiko. I know that the Zelos comes in stainless steel, however I don't have one for this comparison available. The SBDC is on a bracelet, however I know that the Zelos also comes on a bracelet, and I don't have that version. However, I do have the bronze version and the stainless steel bracelet. I had one on my Zelos Great White, and it wasn't great. So for this comparison, we're just going to compare the cases, really. I'm not going to mention the bracelet on the Seiko because I'm not going to be comparing that. So right off the bat, size. The Zelos is 42 millimeters wide, while the Seiko is 44 millimeters wide. But obviously, when I'm holding them side by side in front of the camera here, they really don't look very, very different in size, and that is due to case design. Both watches are 13 millimeters thick. However, the Seiko looks and wears thinner because the case design, the sloping sides help it fit under a cuff. So I think that the Seiko gets more points for versatility. You can wear it to work, for the weekend or driving or diving. It's a really versatile watch. The Zelos, I feel, is more suited for a weekend, not really office wear. It's thick. It's just as thick as the Seiko. The Seiko, both of these watches are around 13 millimeters thick. I think that the Zelos is slightly thicker than that. It's reported as 13 millimeters, but I don't really think that's the case. I feel like the Zelos, like I said, is not really suited to wear to it. You really can't wear this to the office. Movement. Since there is a big price difference here, the movement, there is a huge difference. And it's justified. We have a 6R15 in the Seiko, and the Zelos has an NH35. The 6R15 is definitely a better and more accurate movement with a better power reserve. Both it hacks and hand winds, but so does the NH35. There is just the biggest difference is really accuracy and the power reserve, which is much longer on the SBDC. Finish. The case finishing on the Seiko is superior to the Zelos, which is primarily brushed, and the Seiko has Zaratsu finishing on the sides. That is the polish that you have on the underside of the case, and there's some beveled edges on the case. It's just a really nicely finished watch. Whereas the finishing on the Zelos is a little rough. Again, it's all CNC, so this is not really representative of hand finishing or anything like that. But neither of these watches are probably hand finished. But when it comes down to it, Seiko's doing a better job than Zelos is. Zelos is a very small company, and also the Seiko costs more money. But either way, I am doing a comparison, so that's the case. The bezel, I like the action on the Zelos actually better than the action on the SBDC. The SBDC is super tight. It clicks really nicely, but it's very, very tight, and I think it's unnecessarily tight. The Zelos is also pretty tight, but it has really good action, and it's very grippy. So you could really get it around, and it just feels very satisfying. It sounds really good. And the Seiko is just not as nice. I think it's just a little bit too tight. I like the action on the Zelos better, and it's also ceramic, and it's loomed. So I would go with the Zelos on this over the Seiko. The textured sandwich dial is also really nice on the Zelos. I would go with the Zelos on this. I think it gets points for that. The dial is textured. You can see when I reflect it against the light. This is the black sand version. That's referring to the black sand dial. And you can see the applied Zelos logo there. And this Seiko has just painted on Seiko, and all the wording is painted on. But you have applied indices on the Seiko. You do not on the Zelos, but you do have a sandwich dial, which is kind of cool. Depth rating. We have 300 meters on the Zelos, 200 meters on the Seiko, and to be honest with you, it really doesn't matter to me. The fact that the Zelos can go a little bit deeper than the Seiko really doesn't make a difference. I'm not going deep sea diving with these things. You know, I really would prefer that the Zelos was a little bit thinner than have 300 meters. I'd rather have 200 meters and not be as thick. Price. Currently, the Zelos, new, direct from Zelos, is $350 shipped as of August 1st. Shipping, shipped Seiko around, it's around $700 if you want to get shipped from someplace like Amazon, and that's gray market. New, however, it's about almost $1,100. However, you are getting a better movement, better finishing, and it is a really more versatile watch, I would say. However, if I was making my collection, you definitely would have room for both of these watches in your collection. They're both really cool watches, and they're both sort of for different purposes, I would say. Even though they're both dive watches, this is an everyday watch. You could wear this to the office. You could wear this out to dinner, on a date, going to the movies, whatever it is. The Zelos is really, I think, meant for like a more sporty weekend. When you're going fishing, you're going to go diving, you're going to go hiking. It's a more rugged looking watch, and the bronze is really cool, but in stainless steel it's basically the same effect. And then there's last, it's history. Zelos is just starting out, so they're a fledgling brand. While Seiko has a rich history in diving and creating diving watches, so you can't really compare that. Zelos definitely loses hands down when it comes to that. Overall, I would say the SBDC is the better overall watch. However, like I said, with price considered, there is a strong argument for the Zelos. I would say that the Zelos is a good addition to any collection. If you already have a Seiko or the SBDC or another Seiko diver equivalent, or any other diver from another brand, like a luxury diver, a Panerai or an Omega, the Zelos is a really cool, fun watch that you could add to your collection for not a lot of money. And you get a lot of bang for your buck. But like I said, winner for me is the Seiko. Anyway, let me know what you think of these two watches. Let me know what you think about Zelos as a brand. I know that they are kind of controversial, and a lot of people will get upset that I'm actually comparing it to a Seiko. But like I said, both of these are in my collection. I like them both. I do think the Seiko is a better watch for me, but this is all subjective. This is something that I feel, and you may feel differently. But let me know in the comments. I really want to hear from you. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. It's much appreciated and very helpful. Thank you for logging on.